And now we're going to move on, I believe, and discuss what's been going on in the transfer window as of late. Okay, so Ashley, if you want to start us off, what's the biggest thing that you think's happened recently?
One of the biggest moves that have circulated recently is Ruben Neves to Al Hilal, £47 million. And it's just a little bit of a sad one, really, because you think, you know, when players go to the Saudi League, you know, it's kind of like the end of their career. They're going there for a bit of fun, and people in Saudi Arabia want to see some good footballers. But, you know, Ruben Neves, it's kind of like, you know, he was on the verge of going to Manchester United. He was on the verge of going to Arsenal at one point.
And this summer he was on the verge of going to Barcelona.
Exactly, you know, he's a great player and he's still quite young. I think, you know, Ruben Neves is the player that as we all know, never gets old. So
I mean, he looks old, but he's 26.
Yeah.
I saw someone say this shouldn't be a shock to anyone because at 19 years old, he was the oldest captain in the youngest captain in the Champions League, and then binned all that for a Championship side. Yeah. Showing, you know, if someone offers him enough, he will.
We'll get onto the Saudi League at some point.
We'll touch on that at some point.
I don't. The only thing is that the Barcelona deal looks pretty much wrapped up before he obviously has made the move to Saudi Arabia. Which
I think when everyone does dealings with Barcelona, you can't be too sure.
Yeah, I think
because it's so sketchy.
I think if the Barcelona deal was on the table, he probably would have taken it. So clearly, it wasn't as advanced as we thought it was. But you know, fair play to him. I'm actually going to miss seeing him at Wolves. I think he's a fantastic player. I think I mentioned him in one of our sort of like debate things as underrated or something.
He's a good player, but you know, the fact that he's gone now, I mean, a lot of people are focusing on where he's going, the whole Barcelona, Saudi, whatever. It looks like he's going to Saudi Arabia now, but him leaving Wolves, like, it leaves a massive dent in that side. You know, they are pretty much, I mean, they lost Dendoncker last year as well, so they are pretty much in midfield, going to struggle a lot next season. Never mind the issues they have up front. Now they've got an even more hole, a bigger hole in that side, and I wouldn't be surprised if they struggle to replace them, they go down next season.
Absolutely, as I predicted a couple of years ago, Wolves will finally go down.
It's not impressive. It's not impressive if you do it 3 years early. It's not. I don't think that quite works.
Next biggest story, according to the Daily Mirror, PSG are prepared to sell Kylian Mbappe to Manchester United.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Without the Qatari owners, I don't think it happens. I don't think Sir Jim Ratcliffe will,
I do think,
will
one
have
thing
that
I will
deal.
say, I think this is slightly dodgy.
I mean,
it's like a, you know...
So isn't the owner of PSG, isn't he interested in buying Manchester United?
No.
But he's Qatari as well. No. So they are aware of each other.
Basically, there was like something going around that the PSG owner, I can't remember his name, basically was helping the Qataris negotiate with the Glazers because they have quite a close relationship, Sheikh Jassim and whoever the PSG owner is. Yeah. So apparently they were involved in sort of part of the takeover, but they're not buying into the club at all. So, you know, it's not a massive issue. Obviously, I would love Mbappe at Manchester United. We need a striker, and Mbappe to Manchester United is like the best you could possibly get, in my opinion.
Whether you need a striker or not, you still take Kylian Mbappe at Manchester United.
Yeah, of course. Although I asked you
No.
He said he wouldn't swap Martinelli for Mbappe.
What?
Okay, no, that's not exactly what I said.
That is what you said.
Look, I'd take Mbappe. I would take Mbappe 100%. But the idea of someone going the other way makes me... I don't like that.
The question, what you asked me, would I swap Rashford for Mbappe? And I went, yeah. I said to you, would you swap Saka? I went, no. Who would you swap? He said, I wouldn't swap 4 players. Saka, Odegaard, Saliba and Martinelli. And I went, you wouldn't swap Martinelli for Mbappe? That is ridiculous.
Okay.
That is ridiculous.
Okay, but the other 3... generational talents.
I'm sorry, would you swap Saka for Mbappe?
Mbappe is, in a few years, the debate will resurface of Mbappe against Haaland. Yeah?
I don't think it's resurfacing. I think it is very much now.
It's very much now.
But
so you're saying that Saka is in that debate if you wouldn't swap him for Mbappe?
I think Saka in a few years, you know, whether he's at Arsenal or not, you know, he's a talent who could... If Arsenal start doing poorly, there's no reason why clubs like Real Madrid won't go for him.
Yeah.
And I think he... at some point in his career will be competing and will be in the top 3 of the Ballon d'Or at some point in his career.
Okay, potentially. However, that is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I'm saying he's going to be
I was
up there.
going to say, you know,
If Jorginho can do it,
there's been plenty of people in the third place spot in the Ballon d'Or
That
over
are
the years,
ball- that-
and
Iniesta
the
got
first
top
two
three,
have always,
Iniesta.
always been Messi and Ronaldo, and no one puts that third place player in there.
I mean, they've not been in the top two for a while, the pair of them, but
what I'm saying is, over the years,
I mean,
but as for Mbappe to Man United, I would love for it to happen, but I can't imagine it happening unless the Qatari bid goes through.
It does very much.
Doesn't look like it's going to happen and go fully through until at least January, if not next season.
I do very much feel that with Mbappe, because of what happened last season, he just feels destined to go Real Madrid, which is weird because if you think about it, for his entire time at PSG this season, he's been complaining about playing up front. He doesn't want to play up front. He refers to it as like a pivot role, dropping deep and letting other people play off. He wants to be on the wing. Yeah. And he's going to go to Real Madrid, where their best player is the left winger, Vinicius Junior. And Real Madrid are going to go, no, you got to replace Benzema. Like, it doesn't really fit. He fits the style, like the personality. He is like the most Galactico player on the market right now. But in terms of making sense, it makes no sense for the actual team. No. I don't know what they'll do with that.
I think the rumour with Mbappe all started because obviously his contract's coming up.
Yes, 1 year to go.
And if he's not going to sign it,
then they've got the same issue they had last year,
exactly.
which is he's going free.
So that's why it's surfacing. I feel like Mbappe is going to be linked to a lot of clubs, and I'm just quite happy that Man United are one of those clubs, to be honest.
Well, moving on, Manchester United are accordingly preparing a £45 million bid for Jordan Pickford.
That is...
Who's reporting that?
Well, it's on Sky Sports Transfer Centre.
Okay. Well,
I
don't trust it. I don't trust Sky. Daily Star.
I don't think Man United will be preparing a bid for
Jordan Pickford.
I think the whole David De Gea stuff that has been coming out recently is looking like he's actually going to leave.
Yeah, he's on the way out.
Which is a discussion for another time, I think. But, you know, Pickford's probably maybe the fourth choice, third choice, maybe goalkeeper in there.
He's not going to...
We're more heavily linked with Onana from
Onana
Inter
wobe
and
a
Diogo Costa
fantastic
from
signing.
Porto. So I can't imagine we go in for Pickford. If we get Pickford, it's a massive downgrade of David De Gea.
Yeah.
And I'm sick. I know your thoughts on David De Gea.
Trust me. I have thoughts on Jordan Pickford as well.
But I think Jordan Pickford is a massive downgrade from David De Gea, 100%. Yeah. So I'm not interested in that. Andre Onana is, and Diogo Costa as well are the top two.
They'd both be. So, either of them. I mean, they're very different signings because Costa's a lot younger, but I think both of them would be very promising signings. I think you could probably get maybe Costa a little bit cheaper, considering the other keeper did just get to a Champions League final.
Yeah.
But
potentially, there's another move that is also very, very interesting. Newcastle in talks with Inter Milan over a £50 million move for Nicolo Barella.
That is
fantastic.
Genuinely superb business.
Yes.
When you think of the money on the market, and like I just said, Champions League final, he's a player who's got to the biggest game in Europe, and to then pip them for 50 mil, which is, I mean, it's massively going to improve their side, give them depth. When you're 2 injuries away from starting Sean Longstaff in a Champions League game, that's not a good idea. And this is this is the next step of their takeover, going, right, we've got a good squad, we've got a good system, we've bought our Dan Burns, we've bought our, who have yous, and now we're just going to go, right, this is a class signing, he's going to massively improve the quality, he's going to demand more. That this is the move, and people need to realise, Newcastle aren't here just for 1 year. They are going to compete, and they are going to stick around in and around the top 4. And I've still got them to stay up into the top 4 next season.
Genuinely, think about Newcastle's midfield if they get Barella and Maddison, and then Bruno Gomes as well.
I mean, Joe Linton just had an amazing season.
Exactly,
if they get those 2 players, he doesn't start.
No.
And to have him as a depth option, considering the season he just had. That really Eddie Howe with those kind of... It's the first time, Eddie Howe's a manager who managed at Bournemouth and not at a high quality club. Now he's going to have players like this at his disposal. It's interesting to see, what he'll do. But
definitely. Kyle Walker to Bayern Munich.
I've got to say, I'm absolutely excited because I'm sick to death of seeing City just lose some of their good players. Yep. Not all of them, but just some of them. It just makes me feel a little bit happy because it makes me think, okay. Because one thing I've noticed is when they got... signing wise, when they've been signing depth players, it's not worked straight away. I mean, Sergio Gomez wasn't perfect last season, and getting rid of Kyle Walker, who didn't even start the Champions League final, which I thought was a bit off.
It was,
but it worked out for the end. I don't know. I mean, for him, the move is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I did see rumours of him going to Sheffield United going back home, but let's be honest, they have not got the money to pay his wages, even if they did just go up.
And a player like Kyle Walker, I think for all he's given to Man City over the years, all the talent he's shown as well, deserves a move like Bayern Munich. He's only got 1 year. Sorry, none of us can talk to that.
Yeah, we're all stuttering.
He's only got 1 year left on his deal, so I think he absolutely deserves that. And as you said, Ilkay Gundogan potentially on his way out.
I mean,
Man City
it looks like
Bernardo Silva.
if he leaves, either going to Barcelona or Arsenal. Very much seems like that.
I think he'll stay.
You think he'll stay?
100%.
I need that man to leave Man City just to give me a glimmer of hope for the Premier League, just the tiniest. But if I mention one other deal, which I think is over the last week, I've started to become more and more not more and more, just a little bit less sceptical about. And I'm not going to go too in depth because I'm doing a YouTube video on this on the channel, which is Kai Havertz to Arsenal.
Yes. I'm actually. Everyone's kind of destroyed Havertz since he's come to the Premier League.
Yeah.
I think, he's come from a farmers' league and for all this money, and he never really quite worked out. Well, he did win Chelsea a Champions League. I'm not saying he carried them to it, but he scored the winning goal, and that shows something about a player. Also, I think he's just, Chelsea it's been a mess for the last couple of years. I mean, Chelsea's always a mess.
I mean, he's played under 3 managers.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it could be potentially more than that, actually. Lampard.
Okay. Lampard again, which is one manager.
Again.
Tuchel,
Potter, and then Bruno from Brighton as well. Don't forget Bruno.
Oh, the one game under Bruno?
Yeah, that really messed him up. Anyway, but I actually think that would be a superb signing for Arsenal.
Where would he play?
Well, that's the issue.
A lot of people have said that maybe he'll play up front.
I think he will.
I can't see it because I think the issue with Chelsea is that they have played him up front and he's not a striker.
No, I think
or at least not in the sense that they use him. I think we might play him a little bit deeper, closer to where he played for Leverkusen in a more advanced midfield role, which maybe would involve Odegaard moving a little bit lower. But, in terms of midfielders, it looks like we're not going for Caicedo, maybe not with the same intensity as we were 2 weeks ago. And maybe it could work. I'm very sceptical still, but I'm starting to think about it and go, well, Chelsea did kind of not play into his strengths, maybe. And you know what? The news which made me a little bit less kind of terrified of him joining was the idea that it's Arteta who's completely pushing this deal, and he's had to convince everyone in our transfer committee to actually push for the deal. And if Arteta's that convinced, then I'll go, do you know what? This might be a great signing. And Joel, if he does really well at Arsenal, it will look so bad on Chelsea.
Yeah.
It sounds very much like Jorginho.
It's Jorginho all over.
You were like, oh, I hate this sign.
I hated Jorginho.
As soon as it started getting there, you were like, it might be all right. And then you'll sign him, you'll get him on the back of your shirt, and you go, yes, Kai Havertz.
I'm not getting Jorginho on the back of my shirt. But
Kai Havertz on the back of your shirt?
Potentially.
No.
Havertz.
The last time I got a new, actually no, other than Jesus, I remember I got Pepe on the back of my shirt the season he signed. I don't know where that shirt is currently, but it's somewhere in my house. But yeah, it could be okay, the signing. It could be okay.
Mesut Ozil.